Welcome to the Shannon Fox Show, the podcast where we empower career moms to thrive. I'm your host, Shannon Fox, a career advancement coach dedicated to helping moms like you leverage your strengths to land your dream job, secure that well-deserved raise, or finally get that promotion, all without sacrificing time with your family. Each week, I'll bring you actionable strategies, inspiring stories, and strength based tools to help you align your career with your natural gifts and step into your full potential. So, if you're ready to stop feeling stuck and start building the career and life you deserve, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello and welcome. I'm so excited to have Shannon Russell with me today. Shannon is a career transition and business coach, exit strategy expert, and the CEO of Second Act Success Coaching. After spending 16 years as a television producer, she made the bold decision to stop producing shows for others and start producing her own life. Now she helps women pivot from unfulfilling careers into joyful, purpose-driven businesses or second act careers that give them the freedom and fulfillment they crave. She's also the author of Start Your Second Hand Act, How to Change Careers, Launch a Business, and Create Your Best Life, and the host of Second Act Success Career Podcast. Welcome, Shannon. I can't wait to dive into today's conversation.
Well, thank you for having me, Shannon. I love your name, and I'm so excited to chat.
Yes, so you spent 16 years as a successful TV producer. What made you realize it was time to pivot and start your own second act?
It was my kids because it was my dream job since I was little. So I loved everything about what I did. It was so exciting and high paced. But by the time I was pregnant with my second son, I had a 3-year-old and then a soon to be newborn. I realized that the hours, it just was too stressful. I had about a 2-hour commute from Manhattan door to door. For to get to the suburbs, and it was just too much. So I realized I needed to figure out my second act pretty quickly after that.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how many people there's people that feel stuck in their careers that they don't love. And so what advice can you give to the career moms listening that it's time to know that it's truly time to know that it's time to know that it's time to change. Did I say that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I always say that if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling misaligned or unhappy, then the first thing you should do is stop and check in with yourself. Because I think as moms, we're so busy, we're doing everything, we're worried about everybody else, and we come last all the time.
Yes.
So it's just taking those couple minutes, even if it's just while you're waiting at pickup or you're driving in the car, to ask yourself, like, hey, am I okay? Am I happy? What would make me happier? And when you allow yourself to like check in, do some of that little soul searching, you might realize that, yeah, this is really not a good situation that I'm in. I want to think about what else is out there. And that's where you can start really thinking, well, what else could I do with the skills and experience I have? And then start, making those baby steps to really make that leap if that's what you want to do.
Okay, but what happens if they have fear? Because I mean,
Yeah.
we can all say yes, but to actually sit there and say, "Okay, now I'm going to do this." There's probably a lot of fear that holds listeners back. How do you advise them to overcome that fear?
The fear is there and it's permanent, right? You're always going to be scared when anything is uncertain and there's change there. And I think what the best thing to do, I always say, is to learn before you leap. So if you are considering a change to another career or opening a business, whatever it might be, do that research, right? You're allowed to
Sure.
just get onto Google or listen to podcasts or books and see what a day in the life of someone in that role is. And as you start researching, you might say, you know what, that's really not for me. Now that I learn more about it, I can check that off the list. But I think it's learning, and that's free. You're not committing to anything. As you learn, you might say, you know what, that could be something. Let me dig a little deeper. And if you do feel like you want to make a change, it's still going to be scary. You don't want to wreak havoc amongst your family and cause chaos. So you can start putting a roadmap in place and really make that plan that timeline, those next steps very methodically, because I'm not someone who says, put a date on the calendar and just quit and
Right.
make the change. Do it in a way that doesn't cause chaos, because at this point in our lives, we have a lot of people who depend on us. So we want to
Right.
try to take that fear out as best we can by learning as much as we can, researching, and I think that leads to confidence.
Yes. And then where does like I know if you've been in a career for a long time, that almost becomes your identity. Like I
Yeah.
am director of this and at this place. So how do you what can advice can you give to the women that are like, okay, I'm learning, I'm preparing now. How do I really prepare for this transition because it's going to change my identity?
Yes, and I like to say that you're still that same person. Like, I
Right.
always say, I'm still a television producer, and if Oprah called tomorrow, I would go work with her, you know? So,
Yes,
but
I would too,
yeah,
and I don't know how to produce.
exactly. No, you would make it work.
I
But
would
yeah, I
figure it.
think but we're always that same person, and
Right.
you just bring that into something new, those skills, that experience, and now you're just developing your lifelong resume, if you will, and bringing on something else, and you can use those skills and that experience to make you a better person in your next role. So I try to teach my clients to, do that little bit of a mindset shift of I'm not just this title. And really, when you sit down and write all the titles that you have, mom, sister, daughter, whatever it might be, you're a lot of things. And that just all brings you back to you. But it's that
Mhm.
shift. And then it's the way that you portray that to people, whether it's on LinkedIn or social or just in your group of friends and family, when you say, hey, I'm no longer the director of XYZ. I'm now going to be an accountant, whatever it might be. And it's getting them to learn why you're going to be good at that, because you're
Right.
using skills from your first act to bring to your second. And um, it takes some work. It's definitely a mindset shift, I think, for you and those that know and love you.
Right. I like that
Mm.
because, you're saying you're still the same. Your skills, no matter where you are, they're transferable. Like in
Yeah.
this job, in that job, it doesn't matter. You're taking those skills and the knowledge that you have um, to go to that next position, that
Yeah, I
next
think so.
role.
And it can make you that much better of a person in that next role. And
Right.
and really at the end of the day, you're still the same person. You just added something new to your resume.
Yes, I love that because it's just your experience. Like you bring that no matter what. The experiences that you have are yours. That they don't
Yeah.
belong to a title or to a company or anything. They belong to you as a person.
Mhm.
And I think we sometimes forget that. We
Yeah.
sometimes it's good to talk about that. So, what happens for those that are listening that are saying, "Okay, I am ready for that transition. I am ready for my second act." What do you think career ideas that they might are there career ideas they may not have considered to as they're transitioning?
Yeah, I think a great way to learn about what it is that you do want to do is to look at your skills. Look at, just make a simple list of things, not just your skills, not things that you can do, but things that you want to keep doing, because you might be really good at numbers, but you don't want to work in numbers as you move forward. So make that list of things that you enjoy and that bring you joy and make you want to get out of bed in the morning, and start thinking about what career paths correlate with those skills and that experience. And then what are you passionate about? Like, do you want to create a business or start a job that is leaning on your creative passions? And then what you can really do is even take a course or a certification. It can be something online to let you learn a little bit more about that field, to see if you really want to move forward and go in there. And there's so many different roles nowadays. We're very lucky to have so many companies online that are hiring remote workers. And
Right.
so if you are a mom and being home or being available during those after school hours is important, like I know it is for me, then you can really search and find things that you can do online, or you can do things like you and I do, Shannon. We can have a podcast, you can start a blog, you can write a book, you can um, figure out things that bring in different kinds of revenue streams to you.
Right.
So it's really looking at your situation, your skills, and what will bring you joy and fulfillment in this next chapter.
Yes. So where does the financial aspect come in? Because, you maybe you have this great job, but you're ready. Like you said, I'm in the second act. And now I want to be able to either stay home with my kids or be at home with them. So I know that, especially right now in the world that we're in,
Mm,
finance, money, it's a big thing.
yeah.
So what would you advise for the career moms listening around that whole money mindset?
I think it's what no one wants to do, but you do have to dive in and look at your finances. It's like it's the thing I dread. It's I know a lot of us like we just don't want to look at that bank statement or anything else, but it is important to look at that and really see where you are and be honest with yourself because only you know what you can do in your second act and what you can afford. So be honest with yourself, see, okay, if this is what I want to move towards, maybe it's going to take me some time. Maybe I have to, if I'm starting a business, maybe it's going to take me a year or two to really start bringing in revenue that I can put in my pocket. Or if you're looking to transition to a new field, maybe you have to take a lower salary
Mhm.
or title drop, whatever it is. So look and see how long it might take you. Like how much of a nest egg do you need to build? And maybe your transition isn't this year. Maybe it's next year so you can save up in that interim. So
Right.
it isn't that's actually like the number one thing after you research is really dive into those numbers. And it doesn't have to be discouraging. You can say, okay, well, I'm going to keep earning my paycheck for 12 more months. And then I think
Mhm.
I'll feel better making that leap then. Or
Right.
if I'm going to make the leap, maybe I do have to take a part-time job or start a side hustle online or figure it out. But you want to be honest, especially in our positions where we've got people depending on us.
Right.
And you never want a partner or someone to say, "Oh, you changed things and it ruined everything," and that we had going on.
Right.
So you want to
Yes,
feel confident.
communication. That's
Yes.
important because I
Yes.
I do see that where like even childcare these days is very expensive. So
Oh,
even taking that something like that into consideration of okay, if you could get a part-time job and work during the hours of school if your kids are old enough to go to school and then you're able to be home with them in the afternoons and evenings and all of that, then that's still part of that financial aspect to look at. It's not just what are my bills, what's all of this costing. It's a lot more. It entails a lot
it is.
more.
Yes, the first business I started when I left television was a franchise business that I actually worked with children. And so I was able to do it out of my home and bring my kids with me to the classes that I taught. So I saved on daycare, I brought them along with me. It was tricky and a lot to juggle. Of course, nothing's ever easy, but yeah, exactly what you said, just looking at all those aspects of what you can make work and then trying to find what fits perfectly.
I love that. So looking back, what is the biggest lesson you've learned from leaving a successful career and starting over?
That resilience that you really can start over and it can be fantastic. I look at it like I was able to have two dream jobs or even three maybe at this point because I've started one business, sold it, and now I'm coaching. So I think it's exciting like to look at it like you can be resilient and you can have these adventures in life. And I think I'm most proud of that.
I love that. I love it because
Yeah.
we are moms, and moms, you know what? We are resilient. We have to
Yeah.
deal with life every day with kids.
Yeah.
You're resilient and you're stronger than you think you are. And
Mhm.
so I love that. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Where can our listeners connect with you?
Yes, I have a book coming out that's all on what I teach. It's called Start Your Second Act, and it's available this May. And you can go to secondactsuccess.co to learn all about that.
Awesome. And you have a free resource to for our listeners as well, right?
Yes, if you go to that website under resources, there's a ton of free resources, and my second act journal is one that has been a big hit lately. So it's really getting your
Awesome.
ideas down into that journal and working through them. So yeah, you can go grab that over there.
Great. Okay, Shannon, I love to leave my listeners with one action step. So, what is one small but powerful thing that they can do today to move toward their second act career?
Think about one thing, if nothing was in your way that you would want to do in your life in this next step in your career, and write it down on a piece of paper and look at it, think about it, give yourself that moment to really put yourself in that situation and see where you are tomorrow. And if you're still thinking about it, start doing those research tips and see what you discover.
I love that. I love that. So everybody go make sure you do that today. Thank you so much, Shannon, for being here. I really appreciate it.
This was so much fun. Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning into The Shannon Fox Show. If you found value in today's episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another career mom who's ready to thrive. Don't forget to grab your free Mastery Zone Discovery Quiz, where you'll uncover your strengths and take the first step toward aligning your career with your superpowers. You can also connect with me on Instagram at the.shannon.fox for more tips and inspiration. Until next time, remember, you're not just building a career, you're creating a life you love. Let's make this happen.